Why are you so quiet? I do not know what's going on.
Why bad audio?
That's gonna be really hard to hear.
Why bad audio?
'Cause I want my voice to be at least twice as loud as I'm doing. Okay.
Why bad audio?
Sure. I'll remove it.
Why bad audio?
I don't know. I don't know how to undo it. Okay. So we are going to attempt to do
Why bad audio?
Pong in a day once more.
Why bad audio?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit miffed because I don't have the same kind of readout that I normally would. Like I don't have chat up and stuff, but like I mean I have my phone, so like, I'm not too terribly worried about it.
Why bad audio?
So I'm just like not gonna be able to like see YouTube chat, but literally no one watches me on YouTube. Right, like it's literally just there for it's only there for archival purposes, right? So I'm only at okay. So the 5% free is truly free. The available is total views. Okay, so I'm not quite running out of money. Oh, okay. So all my stuff is pretty good. It looks like. I got quite a bit of cash, 60% cash. I need to used versus free. Used versus free. Boop. I'm just gonna have to look into stuff. So here we could say, actually, let's do. Do that. Do it. Commit. Okay. Cool. Cool. Good. I did proper, so I can do make dinner day 3. And that will post-mortem. Yeah. So touch main dot blah. And then here I can do git add commit. And then here I could say added fire for day 3. So we shall see how things go. There's a lot of there are things that I would prefer to do with stuff, just because I'm not super pleased with how I'm not super thrilled with like, I'm not super thrilled with how like I don't have access, like I don't have direct access to things like oh, son of a yeah, I also need to have my alerts. That's the thing that I need to have. Anyway, so I do want their, like I want, I don't know. Anyway, so I could do, so for one, we want to have drawer, so draws. Let's do, draws. I guess I could do draws. Equals that. Updates equals that. Okay. Then what we have is down at the bottom. We have function love.update pt. What we have is what we need to have, right? So we have love.update, and what we want is to go through the draws. Right. So for so it's for KV, right? So it's for item process in pairs updates do and yeah, I get it. Thank you. What's going on? I'm buzzing, busy buzzing. And again, like I'm doing all this so that I can get into the practice of using for loops properly, using these kinds of concepts and stuff, right? Because I feel like I'm just quite a bit rusty. I was on a roll with Kern in November, kind of doing a lot of it in December. Then everything kind of went tits up. Everything just got really frazzled. I fell out of practice. I didn't touch programming for like a month, like almost 2 months, right? So the thing that I want to do is just make sure that I have a more rigorous and practiced thing, right? That's why I'm doing Pong today. I'm gonna keep doing Pong today. Might not necessarily be every day. If I come up with an idea for a game, I will do so. Like I have a few ideas in mind, but I don't generally think that's going to be something that I'm going to be pushing myself towards, right? And the reason for that is largely because there are, the reason for that is because I don't really have the kinds of ideas that I would like to have in order to actually push for the son of a bitch. I really hope I don't have to reboot. I'm gonna be pissed. I don't think that was after 5 minutes though. Was that 5 minutes? No. Okay. That was well after 10. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye on that. because if it was 5 minutes exactly, then I'm gonna have to rebind my Twitch. And if that's the case, I'm gonna be really fucking pissed because I shouldn't have to do that every time. Twitch is kind of pissing me off now. Everybody's kind of pissing me off though, so we shall see. But anyway, so am I out of fucking coffee? Basically. So, for item in procedure, I mean, I could just do oh, actually, I don't, well, I can do that. Okay. Item.update. I do believe. Alright. I think you could just do that. I'm pretty sure you could just do that. Or oh wait, no. It's for item update in pairs update. Do item update. Well, it's the key value. Is it just update? pt? I think it's item. Yeah. That's update item dt. Right, that's how it's supposed to be. Don't worry about it. This just gets passed in itself. Right? So item is being passed in as self. Okay. Because there's no identity kind of thing. Everything is a free object in Lua, right? So if you want to have polymorphism and like instanced objects and stuff, you have to pass in the object itself. And there's just like syntactical sugar for doing that kind of stuff, which is a little awkward. It's a little bit weird, but for the most part, like, it's fine, right? So I think on day 7, I'm gonna start really doubling down on metatables and understanding how metatables work, because I want to be doing stuff like making vectors, bivectors, multivectors, things like that, and then doing some kind of something. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. So, okay, so I have 600. My upload speed is okay. Yeah, no, that's solid. Okay. I understand the 672 kilobits. Yeah, I understand that. Oh, it's 672 kilobytes. Because I'm at 5.2 megabits per second. That makes sense. Okay. I got you. Cool. So, function love dot for draw in pairs in draws. Do right, draw item dt Oh wait, actually I don't need DT. I just need item. And there we go. Cool. It's gonna collapse a bunch of shit. What do you mean missing symbol end? Thank you. What do you mean? For item update in pairs, duplicate field draw, duplicate field draw. What is fucking going on here, dude? Thank you. Whatever. So here's the thing, right? What I want to do is have because I can make things, right? Because I can do I don't necessarily need to have a new, right? Because I'm gonna have a player, I'm gonna have a ball, and I'm gonna have an opponent, right? OPP, player, ball, right? So let's do player equals ball equals we have a OPP opponent, sure, opponent equals we're gonna have a score probably equals, right? And then we can populate all these things differently, right? So we have these things for we have the declaration of these things here so that we can do later definitions. We have the functions down here because get fucked. Technically speaking, I can move all this stuff down, right? Because technically speaking, it might be better to just do right. Because technically speaking, it might be better to just do something like that, right? And the reason for this is that I can say, hey, well, actually, I could do hash. I could do a hash region, and then this is love declarations. And then here I could do hash and region. I forget how to. So object defs, and then we could do player. Well, we could do object dex, OBJDECs, right? Object declarations, and then defs. I should be able to like collapse stuff, but I don't know how to. Like that is the thing you should be able to do. Also, hash region and end region is such a good fucking tool. Like, it's so nice to be able to just collapse these things and to organize your freaking code. Any language that doesn't support hash region needs to go die in a fucking fire. Like, fight me, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's so irritating that so many are just not able to do it. Oh, okay, interesting. So, we could do hash region. What is it? Object dex. Right. So we have Radian. Regin. Everything good? Everything looks good. Okay. Kinda wish I had time stamps on things. Yeah, I just need to be conscientious for stuff, so. I don't know why that's not working. Ah, okay. So, yeah, okay. Cool. So here we could say the player stuff, right? Technically speaking, it would be better if I had a player factory function, right? Like an auto evokes player factory function, in ball function, and all those things. Because what I can do is I can say set up positions, right? Position variables, and then have like a position list. Very similar to like how I'm doing the Love2D update and the Love2D draw, because basically what's going on here is that these are just saying, hey, there's a collection of items in draws, in updates, right? And I want you to, right, like this is in essence just saying item draw, right? That's what's happening. I think actually I should be able to just do it. But I can't. Right. The main reason why is because instead of saying, hey, there's reasons, right? But it's fine because like I can just do other things. So like it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal, right? But that's effectively what I'm doing, right? Is that I'm just saying, hey, call the draw function. But the draw function doesn't live in with the objects; it's living within the collection of draws, right? And you can do this because functions are first-class citizens in Lua, right? I don't have to worry about, like, I can just pass functions around like they're variables. So I have access to some incredibly powerful tools at my disposal due to the fact that I am able to, just pass functions around like they're variables because they are. And that this is a very powerful tool that you have at your disposal. I don't understand why, like, a lot of people I've noticed in the computer science community are basically in, like, hyper-focused camps. Like, oh, well, because you can solve everything with, because you can solve anything and everything, like, because you can solve everything with object-oriented programming, you should do everything in object-oriented programming. That's not necessarily. No, because you can solve any problem with functional programming, you should solve everything with functional programming. Not necessarily the case. Same thing with procedural programming. Same thing with literally any other paradigm or design pattern. Yes, you can solve everything with this. I could do the entirety of Pong in massive nested state machines if I wanted to. But that's not necessarily, something unique. State machines are super powerful. You can literally write any piece of software as a series of statements. Even better yet, as a state stack, right? And that's something that can be incredibly powerful. Because like at that point what you're doing is you are literally stacking state machines on top of each other. And then you just consume events and signals either from bottom up or top down, right? And that is an incredibly powerful design pattern, and you can even do like full consumption and overriding, like for instance if you wanted to say be able to back out, like effectively like have an undo, right? Or like be able to dive in and pull back kind of thing. Very, very powerful design patterns that come very naturally and they help do programming. And the entire purpose of programming is the whole point of abstractions is to lower complexity. So if you are building an abstraction that adds complexity to your model, to your program, you're doing something wrong. It is very infrequent that the solution you need is thousands of lines of code, right? Very often you build out a large, massive gorilla stack of code and instructions, and then you make sure that it works. And then you, as soon as it works, you immediately analyze the code and think about how maintainable is it? Is it going to be a pain in the ass to change something later? Is it going to be a pain in the ass to add something? Is it going to be a pain in the ass to fix something if I've missed an issue? Is it going to be a pain in the ass to reuse this code? Right? And as long as you hold those things in mind, it becomes very easy to maintain things. And the vast majority of the time, the thing that you are going to be most proud of is going to be like 6 lines of code. That is going to be the most beautiful piece of programming that you've ever written in your entire life. And it's going to be like 6 lines of code. And that's what you want. You want to be able to see the entirety of logic on a single screen. Right? This is very, very, very simple. Right here. Right? Right here. It's super simple. Like what's happening? For item, draw item. For update. For item, update in pairs, update item. Right? Like, why do you need anything else? There is no reason that you should have any of the problem, right? There's nothing else here. I think for local item. Oh yeah. Don't do local. I think it's implicitly local. You can't, like, you have to declare these outside and say blah 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 blah, or some other shit. Like, I don't know. There's a way to capture it, I'm sure. All right. So yeah, like all these are things that you need to like keep in mind and stuff. So so we have this, we have the object declarations, decal spec, alright? So let's see. So we have a bunch of empty player ball, opponent score. Alright, I mean, we could even, just for the sake of argument, I could say equals, because I think what you can do is something like this. Yeah, because I think you can do Hmm. The value is assigned as no because the number of values is not enough. In Lua, x, y equals 1 is equivalent to x equals 1, y equals no. Interesting. Okay. Am I still here? My bitrate dropped. Okay. Yep. That's if I actually have the decoration stuff. Okay. So that's good to know. Alright, so let's see. We could do so there's a few things that we could do, right? Because it would be nice if we could say have because it might be nice to do something along the lines of region and region, right? So here we could say player def, and then here what we could say is function right. Unexpected expression. Yeah, there we go. So we have the function and function, right? Function call. Basically what it is you're saying, hey, the object that is this function, do immediately invoke. So in here, yeah, this is really toasty. My computer is a toasty one. Oh, my thighs are getting really roasted. I don't want toasted skin syndrome or whatever the hell it's called. Might be nice. Come on, Sky. There we go. No, don't turn off the monitor. No, Sky. Be a good foxo. Come on. Be my monitor stand. There we go. There we go. That's a good girl, Sky. Good girl. Alright. So, let's see here. Okay, so function. Alright, I should do that now. I mean, the YouTube side's gonna get absolutely fucked 6 ways to Sunday, but whatever. I think there's something along with, because it looks like if my yeah, if I hit swap, well, I've only hit 66 megabytes swap, but I have hit swap. Alright. So, I don't know. I'll have to keep something in mind. Because there's like a bunch available. Like I still have 1.2 gigabytes available, and I still have 12 megabytes. I have 12 gigs of swap memory. So that's fine. I'm okay with that. But anyway. So position. So I can make player.pause is equal to, you know, x is equal to, say, because I can like change the height, I can change the width, I can change the location. There's a lot of things I can change about these things. But I don't know if that's going to be something that I really want to like deal with a whole hell of a lot, right? Because there's just like a lot involved with all that. So I could do X, Y, you know, because, and also do I want to have it be, you know, velocity based, etc., 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 right? So there's a few different like ideas that I want to maintain. Yeah, and like and I don't know. Make Pong. So I want the X position. I want the origin. Oh, where do I want the origin? I mean, I could do, because I can set the origin to be the left middle, right? X 0, Y 0.5, right? I think that would be the most player dot origin is equal to x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0.5, right? And then here I can say origin is relative to size, all right? Position is going to be in pixel and world pixel space, right? So that everything's like fine, right? So here we can say x equals 5 pixels over, and then the position could start at, I don't know, some such shit. One of the things that we could do is we could say, hey, get the window size, right? For instance, we could say so we could say local temp is equal to that, right? And then we could say temp dot width temp dot height. We could say and then we could say is equal to love dot window dot gets what is it, safe, yeah, get safe area, right? Should be able to work. Right, because then here there we go. Goddamn. Y is equal to temp dot h divided by 2, right? And the reason why, right? And the reason why we want to do this is, yeah. So we have temp, temp dot h, temp dot y, right? So I mean, and the reason why we do this is so that we can just make sure that we have, you know, an object and stuff like that, and it also doesn't freaking matter. Okay. Is it pragmatic? Is it good? Probably not. You know, because it's a, you know, because it's an interpreted language. There's probably a lot of ways that I can make this run a lot more smoothly, a lot faster, a lot, you know, with a lot less overhead. But it's also an interpreted language, so it's gonna run like dog shit, right? I think Lua does run better than Python. I think. If I remember correctly, Lua tends to run better than Python. But also Lua doesn't have white space semantics like Lua does. I mean, like Python does. Yeah, so I mean, and there's also white space. The programming language made entirely out of white space. So yeah. Anyway, let's see here. So, okay. So we have the origin, we have the position. Relative to size. Well, if that's the case, if we have this concept of size, we should probably have size, right? Player dot size is equal to x could be 20 pixels, y could be temp dot h divided by 3, perhaps, right? Just do that. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just pulling shit out of your ass, right? A lot of it's just pulling stuff out of your ass. So, let's see. We could also go, so we have player.pause, and then we have, so we have size, origin, position. We need update and draw. We also need a cross set for input. So there's a few different things that we could do about that, right? There is, well, I mean, we could do state machine stuff, but we also don't have, but we don't like have a main menu or anything, right? We don't have a need for a state machine. At this point, it would just be doing a state machine just for the shits and giggles of doing a state machine, right? There's no point. We have no point of it. Like, I like state machines. I like state machines a lot. State machines are super powerful. I like state stacks. But I also like using tools when they're actually fucking necessary, right? So, region love declaration. So we can have draw and updates. You know, actually, let's do that, and then let's do that. Right, because we have draws, update, right. We could do some other things, right, by having some other bullshit or whatever. But I don't really see much of a need for it. But the thing that I want to do is have... There was, what was it? Let's see. There was... Oh, man. Was it in here? Yeah. Global bindings. Yeah, in here. Love key press actions. So, inputs, right? We could have like a global input system here. And then have this whole stuff, right? So, the whole point of it is that we could have the bindings, you know, we have the input. You know, because we have like an input manager, right? This is an input manager because we have keys, actions, and then the handler, right? The key press handler. So the way that we're going to do it because the actions, I think we want to have effectively a listener. We want to bind a key press to an action, to an event, to a signal. We broadcast to the program, hey, this is a signal, this is a thing that happened. It is named this, right? And then we sweep through that. And then we sweep through that and manage it, right? So all that we have to do is, like, we don't have to explicitly state what, you know, we don't have to go through and explicitly state a bunch of crap, right? Because that's kind of a pain in the ass, right? We only want to manage things in one place, and we want it all together and easily read, be easily readable, right? So let's take a look at the structure here. All right. Yeah, function hello draw. Graphics. Draw. Wait, what the fuck? Hold on, what the hell? How did I do this magic? Qu'est-ce que fuck? What? Nani? Nondale. Oh! Right, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. That's because I don't have, yeah. This is different. This is a state machine chip. This is passing information from one to the next. That is why we have the goodbye draw and update. Yeah. That is why we have that. And that's why in state machine, in draw, if self current dot draw, then self current draw. Okay. If the variable that exists do the thing. Otherwise, don't worry about it. That's what we're doing, right? Okay, cool. So back to what we were doing here. Yeah, and this is the object-oriented shit here, which I'm again gonna have to take care of at some point. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to figure that shit out. So. God, hallelujah. It's just like C++. But different. But interpreted. Why isn't Lua loved more? Like, fuck, man. And why does everyone hate C++? I mean, I'm one to talk. But let's see here. Okay. So we have the actions, and what we want to do is we want to make it so that but do we need Okay, so here's the thing. So here's the thing. Do we want to have this double indirection, right? This double bounce. Because when you have stuff like that, right? When you have this kind of double indirection and what have you, you have, right, because you have the go to hello, you have, right, but these are independent actions. And not only that, because what keys do fundamentally, like what a key can do, may be bound differently depending on what the conditions are. Right. Because in essence, like, you could just have, say, you have like a master state machine. Well, I mean, I'm also going way too deep. It may be better to just have JK, JKFD. Interesting. Still need to figure out what's going on with that. But at least, at least I don't have to worry about my stream dropping constantly. I still have no idea what's going on with the YouTube side of things. Because I don't even think I'm even live on YouTube. I think I'm just... No, I am. Okay. Yeah, I'm on. I'm on the top. Okay. So that's good to know. I don't think I have anyone watching, and I can't tell anyway. So yeah. I guess now's the time to talk shit about me on YouTube. Because I can't see chat. So now here's the thing though, right? So we have the global bindings, right? Because we have keybinds. Now it might. So there are different ways of handling this, right? Because we can have so we have the key. We can have a dot listeners and dot action. So we could have the input dot keys dot listeners for the list of things that are listening to it, and then an input dot keys dot actions for the actual function to be called. Right. And the reason for that okay. So let's have yeah. So let's have yeah, like an input. So what we want to do is we want to say we have an input.keys keys, right? And then we have listeners and then actions. Wait. No. Fuck. Because we want input.keys.a, input.keys.k, input.keys.space. And the best way, the easiest way of doing that is if I do my network is not happy. What's going on? Did I drop the front, both of the frames? Not really. Okay. So see here we just have I mean, okay. So okay. Because we actually don't want this. What we want is maybe a key object. An object that is a key. Alright. And then we just create a new key. Because then what we could do is we could just say, hey, this is a new key. Yeah, because then all that we need to do is just have the listeners. We could have an input key or like an input unit, right? I guess input unit works. Yeah, I'm probably dropping frames fucking crazy right now. Okay. Cool. Okay. So we could do the whole set meta table. Index self. Return 0. Return O. Right. We can do that. Because having these kind of cookie cutter stuffs, right? Because the moment that you need to write the same code twice, you abstract it, right? Because that is a subroutine. That is a unit of work that needs to be copy pasted, right? Because manually copy pasting and then changing values is a dog shit way. It's so bad, right? It just causes problems. It just causes headaches. Because if you ever need to change anything later, you have issues. Right? So the moment that you find yourself copy and pasting, cut and paste into a function, wrap it into a function, and then call the function, right? Or if there's a data structure, copy and paste it into a struct, or a class, or whatever your programming language calls it, into a node, into a furful-faffle, right? Whatever the hell it's called, right? Do that, and then just use that. That's what programming is about, right? So, yeah. So what we need to do is we need to because it would be nice if we could just say make So input a new, right? In input dot key dot new, or input dot unit. We call it a unit. Dot or colon new, right? That should be fun. Because we can encapsulate this stuff, right? Because this stuff is literally no different than, right? Because this is literally no different than machine dot new self o. Right. It's just cute little syntax sugar. I think back in the day when I was using Lua for Computer Craft Challenge, we didn't have colons. Okay. Sure thing, brain. So, yeah, so we can do the set meta table. Index equals self. Oh. Index equals self. So what we can do. Interesting. What if I just do keys? Set meta table O index equals self. Oh, right, because it's a prototype, right? You're not like really, you can't really define things in line. Because I mean, I guess you could. I don't know. You could do like make key or something. The whole point is that I want, you know, I'm going way too hard, right? Input unit is equal to, we have listeners, and then we have actions. Maybe nice if we could add and subtract, but I think for now we're not going to do any of that shit. And what we're actually going to do is this. And then we can do function or new equals function self O, and then here we have local O equals O. Or that. Correct? Yeah. Yeah. I understand. Nani? Anyway. Yeah, and it is local, right? Oh, it's not local. Just oh, weird. That's cool. Yeah, it's just set meta table. Set meta table, and then this is O. Index or index equals self. Equals self. Right. Correct. return. We do that. So here we have an input unit, an IU. Love declarations, love stuff. You know, a lot of the reason why this is under love stuff is because we're dealing with, you know, inputs and stuff like that. So we have the inputs. The keys are going to takes in input units, right? And then we could even say set them for stuff, right? It would be nice if we could just say, hey, keys A, and then call it. Make it callable. That'd be the best way of doing it. Yeah. But I need to use the bathroom. And get some more coffee. So I'm gonna go do that. strange. Oh, okay. Hello! Sorry, I was in the bathroom. I'm back. Hello, Tofu the Lofu. I am coding. Caught me at a bad time. So, hopefully you're still here. If not, then oh well. Oh hey, yes, you are still here. Cool. Awesome, awesome. What do you mean by how do I know? So I was doing a little bit of a bathroom break and had to get some stuffs. So, let's see, index. So, how do I know that I'm coding? What do you mean, how do I know that I'm coding? I have text on screen. I'm the one doing it. Alright, let's do... Okay. So, I have index equals self. I mean... possibly. I think I'm coding. I think therefore I am. So you must also be coding. Possibly, I guess. Let's see. Function call. I don't think I need to have that. A coder? Coder now? Question about coding. What is... Oh wait, hold on. Hold on. Why is it int main? Yes, why is it an int main? Let's see here. Let's see, call equals function. So what is it that I'm going to do? So, well, actually, if no listeners, then return. Re-ask the question, please. I couldn't hear you. Aww. Actually, if that's the case, then I need to figure out what's going on with my audio. Why is it an int main in C and C++? Because I actually do know this question. Let's see, so call function, it is, so if not listeners, return end. If not listeners, return end. Let's see. If not actions, but it's supposed to be static. The reason why it is, it defers it to the OS the handle, and it's convention to in top level programs to return errors successes as integers. That's actually basically spot on. It's not necessarily that it defers it to the OS. It's that when it's compiled down into assembly, no, that's actually a really good answer. But the reason it's not that it defers it to the OS is that it when it's compiled down into assembly, it requires an entry point, and it's called int main because the compiler looks for main. And the reason why it returns an integer is because old school, low-level programming stuff, the return value is what is deferred to the operating system. So if it crashes or it errors, it will return as a certain integer, and then those integers are interpreted by either the operating system or whatever benchmarking or unit testing tools that you're using will will end up read those integers as error codes. So yeah, no, you're actually very, very, very correct. Actually, pretty much spot on. Yes, your intuition was very, very accurate. So what kind of stuff do you develop? Do you do game development, general programming? What kind of stuff do you do? If not, listeners, I'm pretty sure this is how you do it anymore. Oh! Helps if I have proper syntax, no? Then, and also, it helps if I actually have self.listeners, helps if I have self.listeners. D-Lang, which is from what I understand, is awesome. Yeah, D-Lang is pretty awesome. I was dabbling in D-Lang for a little bit. I do like it a lot. It's very C++ coded, very, it feels very much like C and C++. I just like C flavored languages a lot. I was interested in it. I've kind of pulled away because I like doing, games. I come from a background of game design and development, and anything that has a garbage collection is awful in the game development space. Garbage collection will absolutely destroy your game's performance. It makes it very difficult to benchmark properly, right? The main reason why is because the garbage collection is at indeterminate times. So, and not only just indeterminate, but also intermittent times. So what you end up having is, while you're trying to benchmark, if something is very, very slow, it's very difficult to find out if it's if it's your logic, if it's your data structure, or if it's the garbage collector hitting stuff, right? So I've been wanting to kind of step away from garbage collection stuff and like step away from D-Lang. Even though I genuinely adore and love D-Lang as a language. It's just I've come to realize that it's not quite the kind of language that I want to be programming in, and I'm starting to kind of shift into writing my own language. So it's I think that D-Lang is super awesome. I'm also really enjoying Lua, honestly. Lua is everything that I want Python to be, because I absolutely despise Python. Python sucks. Oh, I hate Python. Every time I look at Python, I just want to vomit. Why am I so quiet? I would like to not have to scream into my computer, please. I'll have to, I think I'll have to go in and change my audio settings after stream. That's a little bit disappointing. I didn't change anything, though. Nandale. Qu'est-ce que c'est? But, in the Lisp arts, Lisp. Lisp. It's a language. It's a language. I do know that Lisp is really good for language development. But so is LLVM. So, I mean, I haven't. I mean, it is. I know that it is an incredibly powerful language, right? It's the reason why people scoff at it is because the syntax. The syntax is abrasive, and that is putting it lightly, right? Kind words say that its syntax is abrasive. Am I coming back? Is my... am I coming back? I'm getting some dropped frames here. Am I coming? Really? I mean, fair, I guess. Okay. Looks like I'm stable again. No? Alright. Cool. Mission successful and full bars. Okay, there we go. Yeah, trying to program on, I should be back now. Should be back. Does it look like I'm back? Also, welcome in, Tofu. Welcome in. I don't know if I welcomed you in or not, but welcome in. Alright. Well, willkommen. So, yeah. If not, self-listeners in return, and I think I'm expecting, hopefully, I don't know. I'm super loving, awesome. Yeah, I super love. I mean, I might look into Lisp, but I was thinking that I would do LLVM, mainly because there's a lot of really interesting things that I want to do with the language that I'm looking into. I mean, actually, I might look into Lisp anyway, just for shits and giggles, see if it's something that I want to deal with. But LLVM is, the point of the syntax is it's a single uniform syntax across the entire language. It allows easy metaprogramming. Okay. Gotcha. Lisp isn't the compile target. LLVM is. Yeah. So the kind of ideas, so what you're saying is that LLVM is a toolchain used to write compilers. Lisp is a language to write compilers, right? Am I getting that a bit? Is that like a relatively accurate assessment, I guess? So let's see. And then for it should be This is just a general purpose language, but it has heavy metaprogramming capabilities that allow you to shape the language. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So it's more of like Lisp is kind of an even more flexible version of C++. Kind of. In language design, because you can experiment of the design. Oh! I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So what you're saying is write your language in Lisp, turn Lisp into your language to see if your fundamental ideas are. Gotcha. So you want to kind of block out your language in Lisp just to see if your general ideas are accurate or correct, the syntax you want, the features that you want, if those align well, you can do that in Lisp, and then use that as a backbone in order to write your compiler in LLVM so it actually runs on native code, native, native workspace kind of thing. I see what you mean. That's super interesting. That's super cool, actually. I think you can do a lot of the same kind of stuff in Lua. Like, Lua has a lot of metaprogramming capabilities, right? Like, Lua has, like, the whole thing of, like, meta tables and all that stuff. If Lua doesn't have what you need, you can just make Lua have what you need. Right? Yeah. I mean, like, Lua has a lot of that kind of idiomatic ideology as Lisp, I would say. As it sounds, I'm gonna have to take a closer look at Lisp then. Just a lot like how C++. Like, you can do whatever the hell you want in C++. You can, like, C++ doesn't have. Like, all three of these languages has a large overlap with some asterisk kind of sort of oversimplification. We're oversimplifying things, right? Because Lua doesn't have properties, right? Neither does C++. But you can set things in such a way that it does, right? Because I can make a property meta table that has a get and a set, and then I can assign how calling it works in a way such that, like, I can do things in a way that gives like, I can manipulate Lua to have properties. I can manipulate C++ to have properties. I've done it many, many times. There's like a 12 block. There's like a 12 line. Yeah, fennel. I've never heard of fennel, but like in Lua you can make properties, even though the language doesn't give it to you out of the box. In C++, you can give it properties even though the language doesn't give it to you out of the box, right? Because I like Lua, but I want that extra level of metaprogramming. Yeah, I mean, I like metaprogramming a lot. Like, in the language that I want to write, I want to allow, I like that kind of the ability to allow developers to extend the language itself, right? I want to give a good backbone, like a good starting point, but allow developers to introduce new primitives, like just out of the gate, being able to define a primitive block, right? I want to be able to allow developers to just say, do something along the lines of, like, say, prim, something like prim posit 64, and then you have like a block, and then you say, define, byte width, define, bit manipulations, vectorizations, SIMD instructions, etc. Things like that, right? That's why Clojure doesn't have built-in concurrency, because people can just bring in whatever library they want for their use case. Interesting. Lisp metaprogramming even has async concurrency as libraries. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's like a lot of stuff. Like I am gonna like that's also another reason why I'm like doing like I'm looking into what the is oh okay because I broke here. Gotcha. For yeah what is it, listeners? Those are just going to be for listener in question mark. I don't know if I could do that. I mean, I also need do. And right, for listeners in self-dot listeners. Do unused local. Gotcha. Cool. Awesome. I can just do that. Perfect. But gotcha. Yeah, but like I want to have I want to allow developers to create new primitives, create new operators. You know, like what if you have a use case for the walrus operator? For whatever reason, you want to have a walrus operator. You can just define a walrus operator, make that into a library, and, you know, bring in new language functions. Because I'm only one person. I'm not going to have a team of people having, you know, update and working on a damn language. I'm just going to have a basic bare bones language and then just say, hey, community, maintain it for me. Right? And I think that would be something that's very powerful. Right? Having a decentralized language like that would be a very powerful thing. And then just upkeeping on maybe some lower level stuff as I keep going. Right? It sounds like you like Lisp, ML based languages as inspiration. I guess so, yeah. I'm not entirely sure what context you are saying ML. The only thing that I know of is machine language. Oh, machine language. That's literally what... Okay. I just answered my own question. I was actually thinking meta language. Oh, meta language. Okay, yeah. I was actually going to say machine learning, but machine language is what I was going. But meta language, yeah. I really like meta language capabilities. They make it so that, like, yeah, sure, it makes it so that you have like this weird dependency hell. Oh, the build system. The build system should have. I feel like the build system should allow users to have a default config. So when they do like it's a family tree that spawned Haskell. Gotcha. Oh, camel and F#, yeah. Like being able to do like a tungsten init. Meta language is a language. Interesting. Ooh. Kind of like how C is a language and ML is a language. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Interesting. I'm gonna have to do some research now. Thank you. I have homework. I have homework. Yay. I have homework now. C-based languages. Gotcha. So Haskell is meta language based language. Gotcha. And Lua is something. Gotcha. Sure. Yeah. Cool. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some more research. Yeah, Lua is Lua. Lua is the better Python. I fucking hate Python. I hate Python. I hate Python with a burning fiery passion. Lua does everything fucking better, dude. Like, it has better syntax. It has better performance, if I'm not mistaken. It has better metaprogramming capabilities. You don't. The objects feel a lot less hacky, or at least no more hacky than literally anything else that you do in Python. It has its own interpreter. You can boil it down into, it's very easy to package shit. Like, if you use Love2D, then you have compiled, interpreted language. Like, the fuck? Yes, I know it's not actually compiled, but you have this avenue of being able to release an actual executable. Yeah, and the concurrency is literally better than any other language I've ever dealt with. Like, yo. Like, Lua has a compiler. Yeah. Yeah. It's just JIT compiled. Yeah. Like, it's... Yeah. It's so good. It is it's so good. Lua is such an underrated language. It's absolutely top tier. I mean, I would say that C# is pretty underrated. In Fennel, Love2D games in Fennel. Interesting. Yeah, like I was also gonna be looking into Teal, because I really love. I love my type systems too much. I love strictly typed languages way too much. So dealing with like Teal and cross compiling into this is Lua but with Lisp syntax. Okay, so Fennel is a Lisp flavored dialect of Lua, like how Teal is a typed dialect of Lua. Yeah. Cool. Yay, I have someone else who knows how to do stuffs and things. I need to I need to publicate my stuff. Until I went full static typing with F# and Haskell and got super... Yeah, I mean, having super strictly statically typed languages can be a massive fucking pain. Monads. Monads. That is... I mean, monads are really cool. The entire concept behind monads is a very powerful tool, but the understanding what a monad is by far the most complicated and convoluted abstraction. Right? Monads are an abstraction that tends to complicate your system rather than simplifying it. In which case, they are almost worthless, right? They are an incredibly niche. They are an incredibly niche abstraction that can be very difficult to wrap around and utilize properly. Whereas something like a state machine is an abstraction that fundamentally simplifies a problem, right? You build a state machine, then all you have to do is just build more states. And building a new state is very easy to do, right? Like I have my state machine in Lua here, right? I have a bunch of unnecessary, error correction stuff because Lua doesn't have things. It's a lot of this is unnecessary if you have a statically typed system, but like it doesn't matter, right? You have, your current state, you're an edge, because a state machine is just a is just a Markov chain, right? And then there you go. You just have your states. You switch between states, and then biff bam boom, Bob's your uncle. It doesn't really matter, right? You just update your state machine, and you draw your state machine. That's the only thing you need to worry about. And you just tack on new states, and then your job is done, right? It simplifies your abstractions. And then, yeah, sure, you can say, oh, well, then what about state stacks? Like, state stacks are really cool, right? But they're just a new way of handling a more complicated scenario that state machines can struggle dealing with, and then you just add a new layer of abstraction on top of it that helps simplify the problem of being able to backtrack and managing. You're just combining a data structure with a design pattern, right? You're just combining a stack with a state machine, and you have a state stack. Bob's your uncle, right? So in here we have listeners. So yeah, state machines are good, but yeah, like like the biggest problem that I have with a lot of developers and a lot of software engineers is that they go, oh, because you can solve any. You back? Struggling. Okay. Should be back now. Right? Just because you can solve any problem with a state machine does not mean you should solve every problem with the state machine. Just because you can solve any problem with object-oriented programming does not mean you should solve every problem with object-oriented programming. Right? Like, that's why, game developers have moved away from object-oriented programming in recent time, because you end up getting stuck into past design, early design decisions end up shooting you in the foot later on, when you're dealing with object-oriented programming. It's a very rigid design pattern. It has a lot of mass, right? It has a lot of momentum. It is very difficult to move object-oriented programming. Very similar to like functional programming, right? Functional programming can be incredibly powerful. You can do a lot of really silly, stupid shit with functional programming. It's very easy to. You can do really insane levels of stuff with functional programming. But just like the biggest problems that we see in, say, machine learning and large language models, down with AI, but AI systems is a topic that absolutely infuriates me, because we have this incredibly powerful, incredibly cool, awesome tool that corporations have absolutely and utterly, completely fucking obliterated, right? The people that are working in AI are fundamentally overlooking the fact that it is a functional system. It is a stateless system. And everyone says, oh, that's why you have a soul.md. And I'm telling you that is fundamentally insufficient, right? It is a massive function. It has no concept of state. It has a finite context. And if a state is what is required to have a useful tool, then you cannot have that state be part of its input. because then the state will outrun its input and it becomes useless. And also, hey, we're training AI on its own output and it is consuming itself and making it completely worthless on the things that it would be very, very good at, right? I wanted to use it so that I could type less, right? Because I have physical pain in typing for extended periods of time. I have since solved that with proper posture, which means fuck AI in that aspect, and also like rapid lookups on certain things. Instead of having to spend a bunch of time looking through a bunch of documentation that may or may not be well organized, I could just ask ChatGPT, hey, look up this particular thing in this particular language for me, give me the results. And it was very good at doing that 3 years ago. Now it's fucking dog shit, right? It's the use cases for AI for like accessibility would be absolutely incredible for people that do have legitimate, typing problems with keeping their thoughts, coherent, maintaining cohesive thoughts. Things like that. It would be very powerful if I could just talk to my computer and be able to type out long bits of code, and be able to have like a conversation with my computer and it being able to keep up and maintain a good code base would be super awesome. And that's how it was sold, and it's no longer capable of doing that, and it will never be capable of doing that ever again. There was a very short window of time when AI was actually very useful in a lot of cases, and it has outgrown and consumed and poisoned itself. And it's kind of frustrating. So I just kind of sit back and kind of laugh at these corporations that got too greedy for their own good and shot the golden goose. Right? Like, that's what happened. Now it's a bubble. And it's hilarious. And I see so many of these super big corporations just buying into it more and more and more and more, spending more and more money and do something that's not going to pan out due to their own hands. I'm sorry, they fucked up. Right? They fucked up. And it's hilarious because, all these companies that should know better are ignoring all the warning signs. And it's great. It's hilarious. I mean, it's sucking, it's stinging, because a lot of people are getting absolutely fucking wrecked because of it. We're seeing that, students are getting, students are having a harder time with, cognitive functions. Cognitive intelligence is at an all-time low. People are struggling with having, fundamental critical thinking skills are getting worse and worse because of AI. A lot of people are losing their jobs unnecessarily due to AI. They're being replaced by a categorically less performant system simply because of the illusion of it being cheaper. And we are all, it's a great big shit sandwich and we're all taking a bite. And it's really frustrating to watch. And also deeply hilarious because, while a lot of the people at the bottom are getting really fucked over for it, a lot of very talented individuals are now struggling to find work and struggling to keep a roof over their heads, because of AI. The ones that are getting penalized the most, in the long run, the ones that are getting hit the most are the people at the top. No, I'm not much of an AI believer. There was a very, very small window, but it's not. It's it is outgrown itself. There is far too much faith in it, right? And the people that are getting hurt, there's a lot of people at the bottom that are getting hurt, in very, very big ways. Like, even personally, I know that, like, my stepfather, his job was replaced by AI. And he's a designer. He's a graphics designer with, like, 30 years of experience. He's been doing this shit longer than I have been alive. You know? And he can't find a job right now because, A, of ageism. He's too old. So everyone's like, oh, well, you're too old. Well, shut the fuck up. He knows what he's doing. Right? And B, oh, why do I need you? I have AI to do it. No, you fucking don't. No, you don't. It's not that good. It's not good enough. It isn't. And it's, you know, hurting a lot of people. And it's hurting the people using it. You know, I use it. I'm finding myself using it less and less and less every day. Because even, like, I wanted to use it to save on keystrokes, and then all these people keep telling me, oh, well, you're not prompting hard enough. You're not using it. You know, you just need to learn how to give it better prompts. And I'm like, if I have to learn a whole new ass fucking language, then I should just be better at what I'm trying to do. If I'm typing more than I was before, what is the purpose? If I'm having to put in more work to defer the work to AI, then I'm just wasting my time. You know, I'm just wasting energy and wasting time. It's literally less expensive and a lower impact on the planet if I just fucking do it myself. But I also like costing, you know, corporations a bunch of fucking money. So, you know, that feels good to me. Like, keep trying to think that you're gonna make any money off of it. I fucking dare you. I want you to lose money. I want it. Please, lose more money. Waste more money. Because that's the only thing that these people care about. Is the bottom dollar. And if that is not gonna look good, then die faster. You know? Like, it's gonna be bloody. Like, there's revolution in all kinds of places, and it's gonna suck. Like, there is no clean way out of this. There really isn't. Which is unfortunate. I wish there was a better way, but this is, you know, our hands have been forced, so it sucks. It really does. I wish I was in a position to have a more reasonable and positive outlook, but it's it's not how life works. You know? If someone was able to have a competent AI that could be run locally without setting your computer on fire and released it for free, the entire AI bubble would completely fold in on itself. And there would be a lot of other problems with that too. It would cause a lot of problems too. It'd be very difficult to monitor and mediate, and it'd be very difficult to, like, maintain it in a way that would be in a way that wouldn't have lasting damage, you know, because there's the deferred thinking. A lot of people, AI is not just getting better. It's not. It's actively getting worse. AI is getting more hyped. It's getting more powerful, but the results are not getting any better. The best time that I had using any AI system was 2 years ago. Was when it peaked. And the biggest reason for that is that people are not willing You know, for one, people are not willing to pay for something that, like, if the difference between paid and free was the time investment, it would be worth it, right? If the difference was the time investment, then say, you know, if I pay for faster responses, or to remove ads, or to, you know, lower, you know, if I could still use it without having to pay, just it taking longer, that would be fine. Because then I would have a real world expense of saying, hey, this tool is worth my time, therefore it is worth my money. Right? That would be fun. That would be a very good way of maintaining these AI systems. Secondly, it is opt-out rather than opt-in, and that is a huge problem. That's why everyone is leaving Microsoft. They're forcing AI down everyone's throats. Same thing with Google. There's a lot of people starting to look into Google alternatives. People starting to look into YouTube alternatives. People starting to look into, you know, all these Discord alternatives, although that's for other reasons. Right? There's the reasons why there's a mass exodus of the companies that have the largest, you know, market share, is because they are failing to realize that their job is not to give people reasons to stay, it's reasons not to leave. Correct. What you're saying is a hopeful ideal, but I don't think it's the actual reality, unfortunately. There's a lot of... I feel like there is a tipping point that it could go either way, right? I feel that there is a very real... There is a lot of people waking up and smelling the ashes, right? And it's very unfortunate that the ashes they're smelling is the remnants of their own homes, right? There's a lot of people that are starting to get hurt by their own decisions and hurt by the decisions of those in power, and those that they have put their faith into, they're getting bit in the ass for it. And not just like in the realm of tech, also in the realm of U.S. government, right? And world government too. A lot of people in the UK are not fucking happy with the British Parliament right now. You know, there's a lot of people starting to realize, you know, that there's a very real thin veil of, you know, capability versus execution. And it's, you know, very painful to watch. It's painful to feel too, you know. And I feel like it's going to take a lot of work for, you know, the issues to be fixed. And I even feel that the issues with the U.S. government, there is no one that anyone is ever going to be able to elect into power that's going to be able to fix it. It's going to be a corporate fight. It's going to be some company being able to rise up and undermine all of the hard work of greedy people. Like, that's what it's going to take, and I'm not entirely sure how that's going to happen. And I sure as shit ain't going to be able to do it solo. It'd be great if I could, but I seriously doubt that's going to ever happen. Not unless I fucking win the lottery and use it for good or some shit, you know? I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to make Pong. I'm allegedly making Pong in Love2D. I try to be positive. I try, but like, there's only so much I can do about it. I hate how a lot of the times, like, it's unfortunate that a lot of topics that I end up getting into when talking about, tech end up boiling into AI and the misuse of AI, and then that boils into is it a bubble, is it not a bubble, is it good, is it bad, is it, being yada yada yada, all that stuff. It always ends up boiling into that. I wish it didn't, but it's actual capabilities. I'm measuring it by, same. Like, I'm not exactly for or against AI either. I'm also just trying to look at it objectively, and a lot of it is the same kind of prompts that I feed it today, and how much I have to make corrections versus how much I had to make corrections a few years ago. Right? The fact that in order to get anything good out of AI, you have to be hyper aggressive, and I really don't like that, because that's not how it was in a couple of years ago. I was playing around with ChatGPT when it was still like a closed, where you still had to get it on a waiting list and request access. I was a very early adopter because I was super curious about how it all worked. And I was categorically more impressed then than I am now. When Copilot was first introduced into VS Code, and being able to use not just VS Code but Visual Studio as a whole and its capabilities. It used to be a lot more observant of even just functions. Like, if you were to write a function with it, it would hold the purpose of that function in memory a lot better than it does now. Now, the moment that it writes a function, it completely forgets the purpose of that function, or that function even exists. It has a tendency to rewrite code instead of actually using abstractions, which defeats the whole point of writing abstractions. There's been only a handful of times that AI has genuinely helped with writing code. Otherwise, it just gives me more work. It is very fast at producing code, but it's very fast at producing a lot of tech debt. And that defeats the whole purpose. It ruins the whole point. Like, I was writing I was doing work, I was like trying to write a, game engine in D-Lang, and every step of the way I was just fighting with the AI. Telling it, no, you're doing this wrong, you already wrote this function once. Like, why are you rewriting code? Just use the functions that you already wrote. Like, we're building abstractions for a reason. Why are you fighting me? It did do a really cool, I was able to do a really cool thing of bit hacking, reinterpret casting for a random number generator, for random floats. I basically gave it the general idea without understanding the actual execution, which was, you take in an integer, you mask out, you mask off the bottom, you set the upper bits for the exponent of the double to be proper, such that at the very end you end up using the same bits, but it is a double between 0 and 1. And I was able to figure that out and do that for me, and it worked perfectly fine. And I was able to overlook it and go through the code and double check its work, and all that. And it's like a 60 cycle, it's a 60 cycle or like 100 cycle random double generator, which is absolutely fucking insane, right? Doing some rolling a new random number is classically a very expensive call, and I was able to do it practically for free, which is super cool. It's like I think it's like within the category of getting the current system time or something like that. It's like on that kind of scale in like a couple microseconds or like nanoseconds, kind of thing, which is super cool. That's generally very difficult to accomplish. I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of like low-level system developers tell you that you should always roll up your own random number generator, because you're likely going to do a better job than what's available in standard random, and things like that. But just understanding some of these things, but like that was like 8 lines of code. It's very, very good at doing that, or boilerplate, right? No, that's fine. I mean, I kind of want to move on to trying to finish up Pong anyway. And I apologize too. It's like it's just like it's a hot topic. It's hard to address it without it taking an hour and a half. So, but I totally understand. I totally get you. I don't know. Back to Pong. What were we doing? We're supposed to be making Pong. Listener then. Oh, it totally just. Oh, because I have return in there. Okay, that's fine. Architectures. You made a few Jamgan, but want to make larger games. I went down the route of a simple ECSs, but I wonder if it's overkill and hard to integrate other libraries into. So, here's the thing, right? The whole purpose of ECS, the whole point of entity component systems is that you step away from object-oriented design and step into composition, right? You leave inheritance and enter composition. So Lua is already a compositor language, right? You have to. So an entity component system is largely unnecessary. However, there you end up, and also I fucking hate entity component system. The way that ECSs are implemented are fucking dog shit. Just enforcing data and behavior need to be fundamentally decoupled, and the way that entity component systems, from what I have seen, that may have changed in more recent times. It's been a while since I've looked into it, largely due to the fact that when I did look into it, it was fucking dog shit. And that was only like a year or two ago. But either way, it's entity component systems tend to very tightly couple behavior and data together, which is fucking terrible. It's a lot better to just say, hey, this this object has this behavior, right? This object has this data. And then, but being able to apply, hey, anything that has the physics behavior, do the physics, is very, very powerful. So that's like this kind of selective observer pattern is way more powerful just in general. And Lua kind of, so Lua already has this idea of composition rather than inheritance. So all that you really need to do, like here, I have the idea of listeners and actions, and this whole thing of like update here, right? This update and this underscore update and underscore draw here, these are effectively like your entity component system in the sense of we have the draw system and the update system. So whenever I want to have something have an update, right, all I need to do is just have I'm getting really sick and tired of come on, dude. Ugh. Why are you fucking fighting me, dude? There we go. Quit the highlighting. So here, yeah, I basically just do an observer pattern. I just prefer observers rather than full-blown ECS. The biggest benefit of entity component systems is the fact that you have congruent memory, you know? You have congruent memory, which is more performant, but the problem with that is that Lua is fundamentally an interpreted language, so all these low-level data structures are completely fucking pointless, right? It's just at the whims of the allocator for Lua, for the Lua JIT, and that having it be just in time in interpretation and, you know, compilation completely ruins all sense of proper data structures. It just gets completely thrown out the fucking window. You're right. Yeah, so how you still get composition separation without entity component systems. Okay, cool. Yes. Perfect. Yeah, sure. So what you're saying is composition data separation without entity components. Fundamentally, anything that you're doing in Lua is going to be composition. Everything in Lua is composition. Because it's a dynamically typed system, all that you're doing is whenever you say player, right, like in here, like player.size, that is composition. I'm just saying player has size. Player has origin. Player has position. This is composition. I'm declaring what the player object has access to. And later on, when I use it, let's go into player, player dot, update, self, DT, right? When I do this, right, the reason why this is still a separation of data and behavior, why it's still composition without entity component systems, is that it boils down to the actual implementation itself, right? So here I can just say that, oh right, I was doing that with the input units. But something that I could do is say, you know, let's say, you know, self.size or self.pos.x, you know, plus equals velocity times dt, right? Except Lua doesn't have plus equals that, you know, self dot pos dot x plus velocity times pt2. Here, I don't need to, it's not like inherited. I can just tack on. I can just declare that player has position, or that player has origin, or player has whatever property that I want. I just say that it has it, right? And that's also on a per object level, because every single object, it's not really inheriting from stuff. You know, you're dealing with, you know, factory functions. You're dealing with, you know, even the dot new function or the colon new is, yeah. Okay. So in entity component systems, the reason why I say that it is tightly coupling data and behavior is that classically in an ECS, you have if an object has mass, position, velocity, then run physics with mass, position, and velocity. Right? You force that if it has X, Y, and Z data, do X behavior. Right? Do W behavior. And that's very, very bad, because anything with a mass, with a mass, a position, and a velocity will always have a physics. And if you want to separate those two things, then you have to have a dummy data, a bool of, you have to have a bool flag of has, do physics, right? Because if you want to have those things but without the physics, if you want collision without movement, then you have to do a lot of other really janky bullshit. And it's also very difficult to apply those things on individual items, and there's just so many other problems with that, right? So yeah, it's there. Yeah, you still need, like, behavior needs. Yeah, right. Like entity component systems are kind of fucking dog shit, right? Like here is still data plus behavior coupling. It's okay. So, fuck. How do I do this? Because what I had was, it's very nuanced, I would say. It's because I'm not enforcing the difference is that I am saying that for update to happen, it does require information, right? For physics to happen, I need certain things. However, it's a monodirectional thing, right? It's about, like, scope. I don't want there to be, because what I had was in D. What I had was a thing where what I had was, I'd have a datum, which was I had an associative array where you had nominal tokens. You just had IDs, right? Very similar to ECS, all right? Where objects were IDs, and that's all that they were. And you would index into, so you'd have, a datum of type, ints, right? And then inside of it, you'd have, an array of type ints. or you'd have a map of ID hints, right? And then later on you'd have datum ints length, like mass, right? And then you'd have mass plus equals player, and then you would essentially go mass player plus equals some number, right? You'd have something like that. So it's very, very decoupled. But putting the method on the same data structure as the data itself is literally the definition of combining data plus behavior. Yes, I mean it is. What I'm saying is that it's not. Systems are much more tightly coupled, data and behavior. It is a bidirectional. It's a bidirectional inheritance. What you're saying is anything with X, Y, and Z behavior must. Anything with X, Y, Z data must do X behavior, which is very different than X behavior requires ABC data, right? That is what I'm saying, is that flow of logic can be very problematic. Whereas if you have something that just says, behavior, void int, something, foo is equal to a function, void ints, do stuff here, right? And then player plus equals foo. Player foo. Okay. Right? You can do stuff like that. So instead of attaching the behavior based on the data, you just simply attach behavior to the entity itself. Correct. Right? So you effectively have a bunch of listeners on the behavior. So you have a bunch of, I could probably, for the sake of Lua, it would be kind of like super overkill, but it's my stream that I don't give a shit. I'm having fun talking about data structures and shit, so we can go into Lua Playground and we can go into, say, let's say make dire nominal token. Alright. And then we can go into here and then we can say, touch main.lua. And then go into here, right? So we'll be able to map these two conceptual ideas of traits with Rust or type classes with Haskell. I think similar to traits in Rust, I didn't really do a whole hell of a lot in Rust. But it was like, I didn't do a whole hell of a lot in Rust. I didn't like a lot of the syntax, and I didn't really like how it worked. Fundamentally, I prefer C++ and other C-likes, like dealing and stuff like that. But like the big thing was that I would have, you know, a datum, right? A token, right? You know, we can say, you know, test token equals, you know, 8, right? And then we can have like a datum. I think, yeah, I mean, like, the thing is that there is no perfect language, right? And there's also no fundamentally bad language, except for Python. So, right, like every language has their ups and downs, right? Every language has their benefits, the things that they do well, things that they do poorly, right? There is no such thing as a perfect language. So, like, it all depends on what you like more than others. I don't like the fact that Lua isn't a low-level language. It doesn't compile all the way down into... Sure, yeah. Go for it. I give you permission. Hopefully none of my automod stuff flags it or something. If it does, I can go in and... Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's see. Do I want to do it on here, or... I think that's going to mess everything up if I try. A 15-year-old computer is not very good. Yeah. Let's see. Ketone. Datum. I don't think it's actually going. Come on. Let me go to it! Bruh. My phone is being real fucking dumb. I think... Okay, yeah, no, that's the automod queue, that is... Oh, and you also followed me an hour ago. Yeah, I don't have my stuff up. But, if I do... I think I can go into Firefox. And what is that, the GitHub blob? GitHub.com, Trevor code? Yeah, I can do that. I can just do it the old-fashioned way. Actually. Now, so many people are just like... /Trevor code. Tested it, just haven't built a full game. I will take a look at traits, and then we can take a look at how shorter sandbox or different patterns you're implementing with it. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing with this. Did I misspell shit? I mean, that's fine. We all start somewhere. Let's see. Repositories. I mean, I'm mostly just going through because I can't. There's just a bunch of bullshit. Like here, this repo is literally just a sandbox of a bunch of other, you know, yeah, trait demo. So let's take a look at the funnel. So, okay. So we have implement So you have. Yeah, I don't think I have stuff. Okay. So. Oh yeah, Lisp is more. What is it? Lambda calculus coded. More geared towards lambda calculus syntax. So you have import macros. You have trait. Define trait, def type enemy. Ooh, interesting. Or I should say, Lisp is more inspired by lambda calculus, because true lambda calculus is fun. Okay, so iterable example. Okay, cool. So let's see. So okay. List new, my list new, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, done, reset. Gotcha. Okay, so you have the trait of iterable, and you just tack on iterable onto it. So that's, I think conceptually it's very similar. As you're tacking on the behavior. Yeah, so you can implement a trait on top of a type. Yeah, traits are a contract. Okay, so they're like interfaces in like C++ or other object-oriented programming, where you are declaring a contract that must be implemented by whatever implements the interface. That's very similar, and that's kind of what traits can't define default behavior data. They are pure. Yeah, they're purely virtual, meaning that the implementers must implement. They are a declaration of intent, whereas anything that implements it must implement the behavior, must do the actual implementation. Right? You have you have a separation between declaration and definition. The implementers must define. The implementation, the interface declares, the implementers define. Right? Yeah. I mean, it is close. I mean, the design pattern that I'm talking about here with these things is very different. I could do do I even have, or did it get fucked up because Copilot likes to fuck shit up? That's a very possibility. See if I'm actually logged into GitHub. You can see what's going on here. Because I could also do. So I could do. Oh, I am. RavTech. I could look at RavTech. Talking about attaching a literal behavior. Traits just define contracts. Correct. So the main difference is that mine is not an overload. Actually, yeah, mine is an overload. So there is no Oh shit, this one doesn't have... I didn't implement that yet, and I didn't get to that point. Alright, let's take a look at repositories. Fucking 50 repositories? Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, and Rust. Bunch of other bullshit. Kern. Get another visual novel engine. Compositor. Nominal token design pattern and compositor. Which one's not actually... I mean, so is mine. Why do you think GitHub... Why do you think fucking Copilot's so dog shit? All of our fucking GitHubs are dog shit. So... Right, I have a lot of STD functions and other bullshit in there. I think if I go into the nominal token design pattern, because that one was a lot better. It should be, yeah. Okay. How long is it going to take for me to actually... God damn. Oh, yeah, I need to... kill Firefox. You gonna be done there, Firefox? You good, buddy? Cool. Alright. So, if I do in lieu of playground, yeah, and do normal token, okay. So the main thing that we have is, alright, we have tokens, we have datum, and we have behavior, right? So, so the token, we can just make a token, right? So we can just have, you know, token equals, and it's just empty, or it, well, it can be empty because it doesn't hold any information. It's just it's just an ID. I think idiomatically I made it so that they were literally nothing, completely empty, just a pointer to use as, you know, just a reference essentially, just like a void reference. Void references. That's something that I kind of really want to mess around with, and the idea of having a void reference, which is something that would be tracked in the compiler, but not in the actual runtime itself, right? Which I think would be really fucking cool to play around with, but that's off topic. So you have, I don't know, a good datum we can have, like say a position. Or, well actually, we want to have T1, T2 equals, and then a T3 equals, right? We want those, and then we can have a position equals that, and then move, right, equals that, right? So then let's do the actual implementation part. Implementation, right? So we want to have the so we want position at index T1, right, or T1 to be equal to what, 0, and position at t2 is equal to 0, is equal to like 5, right? And then what we can do is we can say like move, or we could also do print, right? Or bprint, right? I mean, it would be better if we had, I mean, whatever. Bprint. It would be better if we made it an actual, you know, class with the meta table and all that stuff, with call and blah blah blah. That would be the better way of doing things, but I can't be fucked to actually do that. Right? Or I should say association. That's not how you spell association. Last time I checked, S is a consonant, not a vowel. And it sounds like S, not ah. So we could say move at index T1. Well, so here's the thing that's kind of weird, right? We want to append. So move dot listeners, or it's what is it, array, or oh yeah, it's table dot append, right? What is it? Insert, yeah, table dot insert. It is move dots listeners. And then we'll do T1, right? And then move underscore call, I guess, something like that. And it's move dot underscore underscore call is equal to function. And then this is for listener and move dot listeners do and helps if I do another end here just to shut everything up. All right, so in here what we do is we have for listener and listeners we do, because the thing is insert move. Okay, so for move we can do position at listener equals position at listener. I would really love to have plus equal increments are fucking nice, but fuck me, I guess. Plus 1, right? Yeah. And then we can also do a very similar thing with like bprint and stuff like that. So what's basically happening is that you add in the information plus increments in a macro file in fennel. Yeah, it's plus equals is so much better. Yeah. It's so much nicer. Like anyone who doesn't have the incrementers and decrementers is fucking stupid. There's a lot of design choices about Lua that are very fucking questionable that I do not like. No plus equals and one indexing are chief among them. It is so stupid. It's so fucking dumb. I fucking hate it. It makes your life miserable. So in here I could do what Lua. Well, I mean I can do love. Oh, I actually it's not gonna do anything because I don't have print. Yeah, and I could do b print dot call is equal to function, and then I can also say for listener in the and self dot listeners. Yeah, I can fucking spell so well, so good. I do spell good. Print position. I think this should work. Should be fine. Oh, right. Do I do that, or do I do dot, or do I do? Because I could do. I forget if double is double. Oh, fuck. Is double underscore call one that passes in? I think it does, right? Yeah, I think it does. In self, right? Because I think that's proper. Pretty sure it is. Right, because then at the very end, what I can do is I can do move and then b prints, right? Yeah, because I think the double underscore call is a self passed. Is a pass in self, right? Lua main dot check ls nominal token cd nominal token Lua main dot Lua should be that insert table expected got no. What do you mean table expected got no? I passed in a fucking table. Position. When? Nani? Non-deal. It's not working. What is it? On 20, table.insert. Move listeners. Position moves. Oh, I know what I did. Yeah, I didn't do that. in which case I also need to do... Oh. Hello! Hello, Schmelly. How you doing, Orc? Taking a little bit of a detraction from C++ and D-Lang and Rust and all the low-level stuff and going to Lua. Attempt to call a table value global move. Yeah. Oh, right, I needed to set meta table. Shit. Right, yeah. I need to set meta table. Not move.call, it's set meta table move call. Right. Which also means that I need to... I'm not happy about this. What I need to do... this, and then I do... What is it? Doing great. Finished the engine and started a series on YouTube. Awesome. Cool. Glad to hear it. Move, and then it is this. Is that proper? And then I also need to do the same thing up here. Right. Because I think if I set meta table move, T1, yeah, because that's going to should in global move. Attempt to call a table value iterator for iterator stack change in global move. Line 27. What am I at? Line 27 for listener in self.listeners. Do. Because it's not a... and for... what is it? Key value? For listener and listeners. Do position listeners. Should just be for iPair. Why you know? Why you know? Well, I mean that's... What is it? Attempt to call a table value for iterator for iterator. I think yeah, I think it's pairs self table, and it's also what key value, so underscore, right? Because it's going to be nil anyway, it doesn't matter. That should work. Also paid for an audit, and the developer said this could easily be sold for somewhere between 100,000 and $1.5 million considering all features. Sweet. Nice. That's super exciting, dude. Super happy. That sounds super sweet. That's super dope. That is super sweet. Also, Tofu, you still there? I mean, this is taking a little bit longer than I was expecting, but 'tis the way of whatchamacallit, of game development now. So, okay, arithmetic field, 28, on a nil value. Okay, so y is position key value, pairs self-listener. So it's the key. I have the key value in. Okay. I think what I need to do is say prints. Yeah. One. 90. Nundo. And pairs. Should be a key value pair. Because I have inserted still need an address. I have finished off the packer so everything is usable. Yeah. Files into another project because some of the package requires that specific API. The solid file packer API that I made. Listen to Mac bundles. Yeah. I mean, I wish you luck, especially on the Mac side of things, because dealing with Macintosh is a massive, colossal pain in the ass. That is not a fun time. I wish you all the luck on that one. Dealing with Apple is such a pain in the ass. It is not fun. That's why I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to be dealing with that shit. Why is... It should be key value. KV. Self listeners. Just does it exist? Yes or no? Lua, oh hello, Sir Elf. I love Lua. Lua is super awesome. It has a lot of meta-programming capabilities and things like that. I'm kind of trying to recreate a design pattern in Lua, and it's not working how I expected. So, I think I'm gonna, and the person I'm doing it for, I don't know if they are still here or not. So, I'm gonna go back to what I was actually gonna try and do, which is day 3 of writing Pong in Lua. What do I have going on? Lua Pong, good. CD, day 3, clear, love, run. Yeah. I've been just sitting down and trying to do Pong in a single session. Mostly just as like a sketch, like how artists sit down and do sketches, you know? What is going on? Why are you angry? Oh, it's probably because something... Empty block. Yeah, I know it's an empty block. What? Why are you mad? Lua Pong, yeah. Why is you so angry? Oh. There we go. That's the correct thing. Yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff here that I want to actually get rid of. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, Pong is super awesome. I mean, Lua is super awesome. Lua has so many capabilities. It's unreal. And there's, like, just so many different things that you can do with Lua and the meta programming. You can pretty much make Lua do whatever it is that you want it to do. It's very flexible. It's very open, which is something I really like, right? Love has a nice API. I used it too. Like, Love uses C backend, which is mega fast. Yeah, I mean, like, Lua Lua is superior to Python. And anyone who says that otherwise is wrong. Lua is faster than Python. From my understanding, Lua is just faster than Python. It compiles, which Python doesn't. I think you can. I think there's, like, ways that you can make Python compile or something. I don't know. I don't care. I don't like Python. So, Lua is just better. Lua is just great. I love Lua. Lua is awesome. There's just, like, certain things about Lua that I don't like. Like, why would you ever make a programming language be one indexed? Yeah, like C Python or something. Yeah, there's something with it. Like, there's, like, the actuality is that you can make Python be just as fast as whatever language you mean. I don't care. Python sucks. Lua is superior. And Love is super awesome. It's just like an SDL. It's just like a thin SDL layer. It's just like a thin SDL wrapper. And it does a lot of really cool things. Like, it has, like, built-in, it has its own, like, shader wrapper for GLSL. Like, you can completely override it and do your own GLSL. Love has its own, main entry, event loop. But you can override that and make it do whatever it is you want it to do, right? It has its own entry point that you can override, which is super nice. There's so many things about Love2D and Lua that I absolutely adore. And a lot of the reasons why I'm using Lua is because right now I just want to get back into the practice of sitting down, coding, making projects. Because I do want to. As you know, work is, like, I want to write my own engine and stuff, which I'm actually switching over into writing my own language. Because a lot of the features that I was doing just felt more like language features than engine features. So I just kind of want to pivot into making an engine than, doing the other stuff. So I have the listeners. And I have, right. I was doing the, so for the, I have the listeners and I have the input the new function set. Set meta table call. Okay. For do actions self dot actions dot listener. Yeah. Should be it. SDL3 as well, making a batch renderer was very easy to set up. To me, when learning SDL, it feels very similar to creating an OpenGL context, but about 110 times easier. It seems like a state machine that functions almost as a framework. Yeah. I mean, OpenGL is a state machine, right? It is a state machine. It operates very differently than most other programming frameworks. That's one of the reasons why I love Lua and Love2D, is that Love2D feels much more like a graphics framework that just gives you some starting point, right? It's a graphics framework that already has all of the boilerplate bullshit that you would need to write anyway already written for you, right? Like, when I'm dealing with what is it? GLFW or GLFW. Making a window, I have to do a bunch of boilerplate. Why not just have all that boilerplate done for me? Why am I doing that boilerplate? Like, fuck, dude. Give me some sensible defaults, right? The shit that literally everyone else already does all the time. Just do it for me. Fuck. Like, I don't want to have to do the same shit over and over and over again. You know? Down with boilerplate. Goddamn. If literally everyone has to write the same shit, write the shit for me. Just let me override it. That's something that I really love about Love2D, is that it already just has all that done for you. You know, just to give me the hello world. Draw a triangle. Right? Draw me a triangle. Let me do that shit later. So we have set meta table. Okay. For listener and listeners, do that. So we have the key input keys. We can do. Oh shit! Yeah. Keys. New key. Action. Yeah. So we could do something, right? Because what I would do is I can have listeners and actions, and the actions is the if not self actions, then return. If not self listeners, then return. Oh, actually, if the number of is 0, I think this is a little bit more idiomatic, right? Because then that means if nothing is there, then, return. Do things a little bit better, a little bit more idiomatic, a little bit more verbose. I don't understand why so many people are so opposed to verbose writing. It's how you maintain strong clarity, right? It's how you maintain clarity. Like, Like, why is everyone so afraid of writing things? I do need to use the bathroom real quick and get myself a little something to eat. So I will be right back and entertain people or something. Oh, and also some more coffee. Maybe some tea would be nice. looks like nothing caught on fire while I was gone. Woo! Oh. Got some rice in the microwave. Microwave. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, so I guess what I could do is I can have what's okay. K and J. J equals input unit. Interesting. Huh. Might do a thing like that. I don't know. Moving on. Anyway. Input units. New. Yeah. So. Oh, actually, that's not what I wanted. So it is actually actions. Hold the fuck on. Wait, it's not actions. It is a singular action. I'm doing this wrong. Because actions needs to be shit. Actions need to be because you have multiple things. Wait, because you have fuck. You can have a single button. One button needs to be. I think I'm doing this all fucking wrong. Yeah. I actually just need to. Yeah. Okay. This whole thing up here. Yeah, delete that. Fuck that shit. So the main thing is. What is this? Yeah, because we have the bindings and the actions. And what I wanted to do was I just have the things go straight to the thing. What the hell was I doing? I will be right back. That was my food. My rice. Yeah, I definitely didn't cook that long enough. Hopefully I put enough water in there. I always find a way to fuck up rice though. How can you fuck up rice? It's so easy. I don't know. Cursed. The inability to cook rice. Ow. Shit is fucking hot, dude. So, what is it that I wanted to do? Oh yeah, all this is just fucking. Oh right, right. I wanted to have the key be mapped to an action that would be right. Fuck. I mean, I could just do it that way, right? I don't necessarily want to do it that way, because I want to have it be a listener. Right? Because it would be better if I had it be a listener. I will get this down. Alright. So, here we go. So, I want it to be a listener. Right? I want it to be an observer pattern. I want listeners, I want observers, I want all that shit. So, what do I want? I mean, because it would be nice if I were able to have something along the lines of having the callable thing is good. So, here's the thing though, right? The whole point of it is that I notify that a thing is happening. I don't need to write So, yeah. So for each thing, because I'm notifying that a thing is happening, right? I'll be right back. Well, the rest is a little bit undercooked, but it's fine. I've had worse. I've made worse. I'm getting there. I think if I can nail down rice in the context of using a microwave, I think would be better. Butter rice. Butter rice with a little bit of chicken bouillon. So, the whole point is that I notify, hey, this is the thing that exists. Right? So, fine. Okay. So, the way it's going to work is that we're going to have we want the listeners, right? Essentially what happens is that we have, like whenever you press A, it gets dispatched to input that keys, right? And then when it hits the keys, it looks up what key it is. Cool. Then it notifies all of those peeps and invokes them, right? So what that means is that we just need to make sure I mean, this is also way overkill anyway. Right? Right now, I'm not too worried about that stuff yet. I will be dealing with that later. So yeah, because there's like a bunch of different ways that we can handle it, right? So, one of the things that we can do, we can say, player dot update. DT, well, right. One second. Actually, I think I might be going. No. Yeah, I think we need to go. Yeah, there we go. Hope you guys had a good one. Yeah, that's gonna be it. I'm just gonna be done for the day. Yeah, exactly. Doing all that great right now. So, we shall see. We shall see how everything goes. And I'll go back to it at some point later. Like tomorrow. So, yeah, I will be done.